discussing pretty much all week. We have been discussing the female variants of Doctor Doom. This is a massive story, blew up over the weekend. Daniel RPK came out with the report that there would be a lot of Doctor Doom variants in Doomsday, including female variants. Now, we have to take you through the whole thing just so you kind of understand where we're at. Other people pushed back on this. Gary Nerderotic came out and said this was not true at all, okay? And I had a source reach out to me that said it not only was it real, but my source gave me some details. Now, the details my source gave me was there would be 3 female variants. One would be dressed in purple, one would be dressed in green, and one would be dressed in gold, and they would all be wearing golden masks. Okay? But my impression of that when I heard it was like, I don't think those are female variants of Doctor Doom. And, you know, we've talked about how the Avengers Forever run and the Doom Above All Dooms had a group of villains known as the Multiversal Masters of Evil, and there was a variant of Jean Grey Phoenix that was known as the Dark Phoenix that had a golden mask and was wearing purple. So we have reason to believe that maybe these are not Doctor Doom variants, but rather allies to Doom wearing gold masks as some like uniform or some idea of subservience to Doom. Okay. And so I'll tell you what happened next. It's really interesting. One of my great sources. Do you guys know the source I refer to as the Omega source? The guy that gave me all the Star Wars stuff and the Anakin stuff for Ahsoka Season 2. So Omega source hit me up to confirm this. So that I found out first thing when I woke up. I was like looking into messages and whatnot, and I found that first thing this morning. The next thing I found out was that John Roca also confirmed this shit. So let's get into this. Let's look at this article. This is referring to John Roca's scoop on this. And we're going to pull it all together because I think I know where this is going. Marvel's Avengers Doomsday will not only feature Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, but there will be multiple variants of Doom. According to John Roca on a recent episode of The Hot Mic, Avengers Doomsday will feature multiple Doctor Doom variants. At least 2 of these variants are female. One wears a purple cloak with a golden mask. Another one wears a gold cloak with a mask. A male Doom variant will also appear in the film. Wow. You can mention that for Avengers Doomsday, there are at least 2 female Doctor Dooms, one with a purple cloak and golden mask, and the other with a gold cloak and a mask. And there's other Dooms as well, including male ones. That's probably what his source told him. It is reported that several cast members may be portraying different versions of Doctor Doom from alternate universes. The film is also said to introduce the concept of the Council of Dooms, replacing the multiversal Council of Kangs. Wow. Most recently, the internet scooper Daniel revealed on his Patreon that fans can expect either a horde of Doom variants or an army of Doombots. Now, of course, this all ties into what we were talking about yesterday. Upon discovering that the Dark Phoenix variant that had the golden mask was in the Avengers Forever run, I took another look at what could be going on here with Doom. And I think the confusion, as Daniel says here, either a horde of Doom variants or an army of Doombots, I think that confusion is because they're kind of both. They're drones, which like the Doombot thing is a drone, but instead of being actual Doombots, they're going to be variants. Because in the Avengers Forever run, the Doom Above All Dooms goes around, collects Dooms, has them go mad and cut out their own tongues, and then they become essentially Doombots to him. They're like drones. They've gone mad. They cut out their own tongues. Pretty crazy, man. Pretty interesting. So look, at the end of the day here, like, look, because some people said, I was talking about this on Twitter and people were like, but Gary said this isn't true. And look, Gary's gotten stuff wrong already in the time that I've been following on Scoops, but I don't think he's necessarily wrong about this one because I think Gary knows that they're not Doctor Doom variants. Okay. But also Gary could just be wrong. They could be Doctor Doom variants. They could be, Marvel could be cooking something pretty wild. And in that regard, if what I think they're doing is what they're doing, it's not just going to be like, oh, there's female Dooms. There's going to be way more to it than that, right? And of course, hearing yesterday the scoops that both Clea and Sylvie would be working with Doctor Doom secretly, kind of makes me think that could be your green cloak, that could be your purple cloak, and your gold cloak could be Wanda or maybe a version of Doom. I'm not really sure, right? But it is kind of interesting that John is out here talking about this. But you know who else has a gold mask, ladies and gentlemen? Now we got to get a little weird with it. Now we got to get a little weird with it. You know who else had a golden mask? This guy. This guy right here. And if you didn't know, this is a actual birthday party invitation that was put out by one Robert Downey Jr. Oh, and by the way, this is a photo from that very birthday dinner. And one of the things you'll notice is that this look here with the golden mask and the frilly curly hair, which by the way, his hair is crazier than mine. This is wild. Wearing a golden mask tends to look a lot like this potential variant look for Doctor Doom. Okay, so hang on. Hang on now. What the hell could be going on here? Well, I think it's the case that there will be several variants of Doctor Doom that are played by Downey, of course. And remember, Chris Claremont, God bless him, came out and was talking some mad shit on Marvel, and he said Downey's coming back to play 4 different characters. At least. So this is probably one of them. Now, what do I think is going on with this? So what I think this part's speculation. Just hear me on this. This is speculation, okay? But what I think is going on is you will have a ton of variants of Doctor Doom. And you know what this is really reminding me of is like, there were those scoops that said Doom had a vendetta against the multiverse. Guys, I'm really starting to believe, and maybe it's just the case that I do that thing where I go to the craziest explanation, I do the craziest fanboy theory or whatever. But I'm starting to go to this place that some of you have already gone to, which is that all this shit might be fake. That Doom might have found out the truth about the multiverse, sacrificed his own son to gain power, to start to destroy the multiverse, to remake it. Now, currently, that is not what the scoopers and the insiders are saying, and that's because I think they're not being told that by Marvel. But I think it's possible Marvel is cooking up some insane twists. Actually, I think they're cooking up several big twists that we won't even know about until the movie. And I think one of them is that RDJ's Doom, the main Doom, is the Doom above all Dooms. And this scene that was described to me with the 3 female variants in gold masks, a male version of Doctor Doom that had the mouthpiece removed from the mask, a variant of Doctor Doom that had horns. I think that's your Council of Dooms or your Doom's variant Doombot army, multiversal masters of evil, or as Anthony Mackie referred to it the day Downey was announced, Doom's Illuminati. I think that's probably what it is. And I think this right here was Downey playing a particular variant of Doctor Doom. And when I look at this Doctor Doom here, do you know what I see? I see the court gesture. I see a version of Doom that the other Doom keeps around as a pet because he reminds him a lot of the variant of himself from 616, who they call Tony Stark. And I wonder if this guy would be some kind of court gesture pet or some kind of thing that Victor is going to keep on a leash. That's speculation. But yeah, the more and more we look at all of this stuff, man, I think this is going in a pretty dark direction. And we keep hearing these things from all the scoopers that, like, Clea initially working with Doom, but then she realizes his real plan. Sylvie working with Doom, and then he realizes his real plan. At some point, look, there's some stuff I can't say, but I'll say this. I wouldn't be surprised if at one point Reed Richards and Professor X, who have kind of been fighting each other, realize that Victor is playing everybody. So the more and more that comes out about this film, it really does feel as though there are machinations, plans within plans, that Doom's on some Doom shit, and part of that means gathering up other Dooms and forcing them to be subservient to him. So that dude, this is crazy. And I also think it's pretty wild that Rocha covered this, man. Oh, man, it's all starting to come out, boys. It's all starting to come out. When I was talking about this gold shit, nobody believed it. Now Rocha's talking about it. People are going to believe it. So thank you, Rocha. Chris said with a 10 spot, and that's now 3 people that have confirmed this, including Rocha. 2 sources in Rocha. Chris says with a 10 spot, appreciate you, buddy. Says, what if it's Doom that pulls Iron Man out of time during Endgame, thinking he's going to change Tony by telling him the truth about Kang, changing the timeline and manipulating him, but Tony doesn't turn. So that's not a bad idea, but what I would tell you is I'm beginning to get the impression that Doom knows a lot of this shit is fake, including Tony Stark. So he doesn't have a high opinion or much regard in general for Tony Stark or the Sacred Timeline, or maybe any timeline. Maybe Downey Doom is the one we saw in F4 isn't Prime Doom. That's an interesting idea. Maybe not. Maybe you're right. Oh. Yep. Purple cloak, purple cloak. You're right. Purple cloak. Purple cloak, purple cloak. This movie is going to be way less crazy than y'all think. You'll see. You'll see. I understand your feeling on that, but, you know, I've been in the game for a long time. I have really good sources. You're going to see. You're going to find out. Purple cloak, purple cloak. Is that good? Yo, RDJ is holding up 2 fingers in that pic. Makes you think Doom 2, Peter 2. Ooh, that's kind of an interesting thought. Kind of seems like just a peace sign to me, but sure. We're so close to the trailer, we're really going to edge us for a whole year. Dude, yeah, it's going to be a crazy year, dude. I told you guys yesterday, I was telling my wife about this. I was like, next year's going to be insane. Like, Doomsday reshoots early on. You got Born Again and Punisher. Then you got the build-up for Spider-Man into the summer. The whole while, they're going to be dropping promotion for Doomsday. Then Secret Wars starts filming in June. The whole year, we're going to hear stuff about Secret Wars. It's crazy. Like, next year is going to be absolutely insane if you're a Marvel fan. And if you're a Marvel content creator, holy shit. Straddle up. Straddle up, boys.